Hello, Guardians. Welcome to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I am your host, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the Vault Dwelling, Jotun Toten, the Curse himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
Did you just call me a curse?
Curse, Lost, Queen. I don't know. I could have called you anything, I guess.
Corey, this has been a busy week. For once, I'm not talking about personal life.
I know.
It's been a very busy week for this game.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I thought we were getting ahead of it by doing an episode on Tuesday.
No, dude.
Turns out it just took the time. This show would have been from like 3 hours to 2 hours.
Dude, this show would have been like 3 hours long if we would have packed it all in here.
Dude, it's rough. It was honestly like, I was just so happy we did that. Like, we got done recording, and not 5 minutes later, I saw Dylan's post about we're gonna have a whole article on trials changes for y'all tomorrow. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I really wish we could have gotten that out of the way today.
Right.
But even at 45 minutes, we felt like we were still coming in a little bit longer than we wanted. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good news.
It's
fucking wild.
I know, dude. This whole week has been wild. The episode you guys did had almost as many views or listens in 2 days as we usually get in a week. Yeah,
it's definitely the most listened to, and that was with a massive audio issue too.
Yeah.
So you sent me those numbers. That was really mostly across 24 hours. So
yeah.
Really happy with how that performed. But Corey, you weren't with us on Tuesday.
I wasn't.
What do you real quick? What do you think of the Witch Queen reveal and the 30th anniversary event?
I think overall that this game is becoming bigger than we've ever seen it. I think Nerd hit it on the head where he said it's overwhelming. You know, they packed so much information into like a 35 to 40 minute show. I really loved what I saw. Dude, the whole Hive Guardian thing is insane, and the fact that they're gonna be able to like resurrect it unless you kill their ghost, and that ghost crush animation is so cool. They're adding a lot. The weapon crafting stuff is interesting. I think the 30th anniversary celebration sounds really cool. Not quite the Halo crossover I think we were expecting, but still really, really cool. I like the Titan shoulder pad that has the needles on it.
It is worth noting that they do say on the anniversary page when you're reading through all that, there is still more to be announced.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there is. I know they kind of mentioned that they were going to acknowledge Marathon kind of heavily in this.
Marathon is getting an entire armor set. We've actually already seen what it looks like.
Yeah, it's that kind of, I know which one it is. It's hard to describe, but it's
hard to describe. I don't like it.
It's very Orbish.
Yeah.
The Warlock one looks really bad. Sorry, Nerd.
I think the Marathon sets, those are, I think for like the absolute, like, you've been with Bungie since the beginning, those are some diehard ones.
I actually plugged in my 360 because I have that remake that they did on the 360 arcade, Durandal or whatever it's called. I think I'm gonna maybe play it a little bit and maybe just throw some up on our YouTube channel at some point.
I want to see what they do. I mean, obviously, we're all sitting here on, with bated breath, waiting for the Halo crossover that was rumored. We try not to talk about leaks on here. We talked about some of the stuff in the paste bin, and I said that we were going to read some of the stuff out loud, and we were going to come back and laugh when it was wrong. Mm-hmm. A lot more of that was right than it was wrong. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad we didn't take it seriously. We had a good time laughing about it. Went in, I had seen a couple of the story spoilers, and I thought they were just too outrageous to be true. I still want to see how Hive Guardians look in theory. Like, I want to see what they look like to play against a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I do think it's going to be one of those situations where it's like, oh, they're just going to be confined to Savathun's throne world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think. I think
new area, and especially in the raid.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think I could handle being blade barraged or nova bombed repeatedly by Hive Guard. Can you imagine
like
if they
you're
get
taking
fucking
out
Thunder Crash?
or like you're taking out these like high, like just some God, what the thrall, like they're just coming at you and you just get blindsided by a sentinel shield. Like, oh
dude, they're gonna pop a fucking well of radiance.
Oh god,
they're gonna well of radiance us, and I'm not looking forward to this. I think it's a unique little twist. I was surprised at how much they showed us once we went into that. They showed us up front, and then they talked about the season.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where I want to steer it tonight. Is at the top. I want to steer in the Season of the Lost for a few minutes, because the whole question now that we know what's going on in the Witch Queen is how the fuck do we get there? Season of the Lost, upon immediately logging in, of course, we pick up right where we left off with the epilogue events, literally right where we left off. You and Saint have arrived at the Dreaming City. You've followed faux Cyrus's trail. And partway through the mission, some great dialogue from Saint. Saint is pissed.
Yeah.
He's ready to fucking kill Osiris. Ikora has ordered you to arrest Osiris as soon as you find him, to apprehend him. And then Saint's ghost Geppetto detects that there's another guardian there, and it's Crow. Setting all three of you on a collision course with Marasav and Osiris, who is actually Savathun. The dialogue that plays out in that first mission, just the twist of it. Our friend Ray was playing through it this afternoon, actually, and I didn't know he was playing that mission, and all of a sudden I just start getting these messages all in caps going, oh my god, what? I can't believe she's been Osiris the whole time? And it's explained. I initially misheard it. She says the line, I've been Osiris for as long as you've known me. And she's specifically speaking to Crow there. I thought for a second, I thought she was talking to us, and I was like, oh shit. Or like to Saint, like I've been Osiris since you came back, or something like that. No, specifically since then. So it confirms what we thought, that the switch happened right after. And there is a piece of lore which we'll get into probably next week that details how she like kind of took over or took on Osiris's form. That he was very broken after Sagira's death, after he used like all of her light to extinguish Zivu-Arath's horde. She seized her opportunity there. So she makes a bargain with us. She will free the real Osiris if we help exorcise her of her worm. If you've been listening to us long enough, we did a whole series on the Hive Gods and on worms. And I want to do an updated series this fall, but the skinny of it is the worm is what gives the hierarchy of the Hive, like Savathun, Oryx, and Zivu-Arath, that's what gives them their power. They have to constantly feed it. That's why Savathun had the murder battery going. Well, she's kind of grown tired of being in servitude to a worm after like 3 millennia. So she strikes a deal with Queen Mara that she'll give us Osiris back. And she'll tell us why Zivu-Arath is really after her. But we got to get rid of that worm. This is almost certainly a terrible fucking idea. She's currently living inside of a big fat crystal in Mara's throne room. Which is Dreaming weird. City, which also terrible. There's literally a portal to the tower from there. Not digging this. Not great, Bob.
Tower's gone. Goodbye.
So this explains why we can use abilities and stuff and triple jump inside the tower now, I guess. Inside the helm, but
we're gonna get our Avengers helicarrier moment real soon.
Oh my god,
real soon.
The helicarrier is gonna come through the fucking portal on its own.
God.
You go to some really interesting locations though right off the bat. So we have the new event during this, which is the I gotta find it real fast. I always forget the name of it. The Astral Alignment. Alignment is our seasonal arena. It's basically a better blind well activity. But there are things you have to do, such as there's new things like picking up the little Taken balls and running them, and like you're shooting Taken energy out of them.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was really dope. You have to shoot some of the corrupted ether, of course, very similar to the Tangled Shore and Dreaming City public event with the Scorn. The Scorn are back in the story now.
Yeah.
Scorn, Taken, Hive. We get it confirmed to us that the Taken are no longer under Savathun's control. She tells us essentially she doesn't know she can break the curse of the Dreaming City without taking control of the Taken again. And it's like, oh, well, it's implied that they're being controlled by Xivu Arath, and whoever Xivu Arath answers to.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of get the impression that she may not be the only force at play here, and that's surely something that's going to be unveiled over the course of the season and into the Witch Queen.
Mm-hmm. Well, they kind of hinted that at the reveal, right? Where like Lightfall
Right.
in the final form, there's a bigger like evil at play, right? And
I mean, so we've talked about this a lot on this show. The fabled final enemy type, the Veil.
Yeah.
As they were once known. You got to figure they play in the Witch Queen somehow.
Yeah.
Like you are legitimately running out of time to introduce them. You're running out of major expansions.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another activity though. It's the weekly story mission. Similar to how we had to go do expunges or battlegrounds in past seasons, or not Wrathborn hunts, but we go into the Ascendant Plane, the Shattered Realm, and like this week's looks like a really perverse, corrupted, broken version of Trostland in the EDZ. You can see Devrim's Church. You can find some of the lost sectors. The square where you do like a shadows. There's a lot of areas like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is a really cool idea. This is, again, we talk about repurposing areas. This is how I want this to happen. Like you have to go do a really quick patrol mission there and get all these anchors, but then you have enough power, quote unquote, to be able to jump into this for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be coming back to this repeatedly. There's so many things you can't do in there unless you have some of the powers, and they won't unlock for each of the next couple of weeks. So really looking forward to that. Overall, I think it's an incredibly strong start to the season. I think this may be the fastest we've gotten going on a seasonal narrative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, it's the most information we've had dumped on us in a season opening, probably since Arrivals.
Mm-hmm.
And Arrivals, it was mainly the shock of seeing the pyramids.
Yeah.
It was the pyramids. It was seeing Eris for the first time since Shadow Keep.
We barely even got, like, in Arrivals, we actually had to go do that mission to go see the pyramids, though. This is like you shoot a couple hive, and you're kind of running down this hallway, and then you enter the room, and, like, then it just drops all this information.
Boom! Savathun!
Yeah. Dude, when you walk through that door and you see that giant crystal, and you just see, like, it almost reminds you of, like, the essence of Crota kind of crystal.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Temple of Crota.
Yeah, and, like, you just see the arms kind of, like, cross her chest like this. Oh, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. It's happening.
Can we talk about how fucking creepy Savathun actually looks, like, now that we've seen her fully? We haven't done a pod together since we saw even the teaser.
Yeah.
How fucking creepy she looks.
Yeah.
She's 21 feet tall, according to Bungie. I don't know. Again, our friend Ray, I don't know if I sent you. He made a meme, and it's Andy from Toy Story when he drops Woody.
Yeah.
It says, "I don't want to play with you anymore." Except he photoshopped the really tall lady from Resident Evil 8 onto it.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of dropping Woody, he's dropping her, and I found that to be really funny. Let's see what else. We do know there's a couple of things coming later on in the season. We already have the first step of the exotic quest. That's going to play out over several weeks. An exotic trace rifle, Ager's Scepter. Really, really looking forward to this. I like trace rifles a lot. Johnny and I are looking forward to this. I hope it's more usable than Ruinous Effigy was.
Yeah.
Crossplay unexpectedly went live on Tuesday. None of us were expecting that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see. I've already played, we raided with Johnny last night.
Yeah.
And he was on PC for it, and I was playing some with Ray earlier, and he was on his PC. Man, this season it kind of got off to a really fast start. I'm digging it right now.
Yeah, I want to get back into it. I haven't even really done a lot because we raided the last 2 nights, and like
when we get done here, I'm jumping straight back in.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably have to wait till tomorrow because work. But yeah, man, I love that first mission. I kind of went through Petra, right? Like we didn't even get to that yet. Like, oh man, it was just
Petra's back. Our main NPCs are of course Mara, Petra, Savathun's Crystal, and it appears to be Saint and Crow as well. It appears to be those 5. Ikora has a little bit to do. Definitely a reduced role over last season, and we know she's going to take center stage in the Witch Queen.
Yeah.
But this is, to me, this is like everything that we talk about we want in a season. And you look at how long this season is about to be.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have 3 events, not counting the 30th anniversary event. You're going to have 3 events: Festival of the Lost, The Dawning, and Moments of Triumph. They're really, I think, like laser focused on trying to make sure that we understand like this season is like it is going to be 6 months. Like the Bungie made an announcement. It was in the recap post, which was unfortunately not live while we were doing Tuesday's show, but they have confirmed one of my questions, which was, are we going to be able to get more transmog tokens this season? Mm-hmm. And they says that partway through, they're going to reset the counter for us because they're easier than ever to do. You can stack like 4 of them at a time for different activities.
Mm-hmm.
I just have like 5 transmog mounties chilling in my inventory right now.
Yeah.
They said they're going to reset that counter, and there will be opportunities to earn extra bright dust throughout all this, in addition to the holiday events, obviously. So, I think knowing this was coming allowed them to plan a little bit better, as opposed to Arrivals, where we were already a month into the season when they announced the delay.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, okay. It kind of, and we talked about this last year. It kind of felt like that's why they suddenly did all the raids. Like, oh, we're gonna give you all these rewards for doing all the old raids that we're about to take out.
Yeah.
Like to encourage people to go do them. We're gonna bump the drop rates of Anarchy and some of the other things like the Acre's Catalyst and things like that. But this season is just there's so much here. The design team is really outdoing themselves. Again, we now have an entire Awoken wing in the helm, which is really cool. I'm digging that. The weapons all look cool. I haven't had a chance to use too many of the stasis weapons. I did use the bow a little bit, and I used the hand cannon a bit. But I have the fusion and the auto rifle hanging out in my inventory ready to use. The 3 new exotics, 1 for each class, are all from D1. Radiant dance machines are back. There's 100 of them. Really excited. They've repurposed them, and I can have like 5 dodges now.
Wow.
I really like that.
Don't know how I feel about that.
Dodging. Oh, very excited about that. Nothing monocles are back, and we had one. No backup plan is back for Titans. So I think these are all cool exotics to bring back. Really, really liking that. And of course, we know we're getting a lot more returning D1 items, such as 1,000 Yard Stare and AS Luna with the 30th anniversary Loot Cave dungeon with that sweet-looking Thorn armor.
Yeah.
There's never been an armor set in D2 where I'm like, yeah, I need to go earn that on all 3 characters.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't even play my other characters, but I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go do these just so I can use my transmog tokens on the Thorn armor for them. Like that's all my classes are just gonna be permanently set to the Thorn armor. I don't even care about anything else. Like this is just too cool for me not to be using. Every time I need to have my armor on for a cutscene, that's what's getting put on.
Wow,
this is really cool. But I'm hoping that we get a lot of Mara's story kind of told to us. Like, where has she been for the last basically 2 years at this point?
Yeah.
The last time we saw her was when she departed the Queen's Court at the beginning of Black Armory. So like where the hell has she been? Like when I still like I have nagging questions about those visits too. Like when she chastised us and had us leave because her next visitor doesn't care for those born in the light.
Right.
Was that fucking Savathun or like who was it at this point?
Who is
I have
this?
so many questions.
Dude, I want to like the queen. I do. But
Mara is playing her own game here. And we're basically caught in the middle between her and Savathun. Man, it's getting creepy. It feels almost certain that Crow is going to find out about his past life as Uldren.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. You can't do that to my guy.
Yeah. He's gonna. I mean, she's gonna tell him, right? And then he's gonna like. I don't know. He's gonna do something. I don't know if it's stupid. Maybe he's the one that sets off like the the light or whatever. Maybe he like feels bad for whatever for her, so he like helps her, and it actually causes something really terrible. You know?
Right.
I don't know. That's what I just have a bad feeling.
I have a really bad feeling here too. So on the website, I want to read the blurb that they have for Savathun here, because they list Mara and then Savathun for the story. Sister to Xivu Arath and Oryx, the family of gods have challenged humanity for centuries. It was Savathun who defied the Black Fleet, even as it drove a wedge between her and her sister. Although her motive remains obscured, Savathun's involvement with the Endless Night demands answers. I like how they're really continuing on. They're not letting that just go away. Like it wasn't just a one and done thing. Like we start off the season pursuing Osiris, like we said, really chasing him through the Dreaming City. And then eventually end up in Mara's throne room. But this is the first year where I really feel like the seasons have woven together to keep telling this story. And now it's fairly clear to me because I had been wondering out loud, like, well, it feels like we had one narrative that kind of ended with Keitel, and then we had another one that started last season. Now it's clear that the intertwining tissue of Hunt, Chosen, Splicer, and now Lost is Savathun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as Osiris, she orchestrated all of these events. But now, to what end? To what purpose? She's a master planner. She's a schemer. She's the god of deceit.
Mm-hmm.
So we literally have like a god of deceit going up against the high god of war, and us, Mara, and Mara's pitting us against them, pitting the Guardians against them. It's gonna be crazy. She has a different reverence for Guardians, I feel now, though, as opposed to the last time we saw her. She said before, I should have obliterated your Traveler when I had the chance.
Right.
And now it's almost like she kind of recognizes that, like, our specific Guardian, like that the young wolf is like really the only thing standing between like literal gods and like genocide. Because if Xivu Arath gets to Earth, it's all over. Like, if she steps foot on that planet, Earth is gone.
Yeah.
There's just no way. We're not going to be able to fight her if her or Savathun shows up there in their true form.
You think that could happen sooner than later? Like, Earth just goes away? I mean, I don't think they would have brought back the Cosmodrome for, like, 1.5 years, right? Like, I mean, I don't think it's that, but, like...
No, but I could see the tower going away. Yeah. We talk about the helicarrier. The helm turning into a helicarrier.
They could destroy the last city and the EDZ, and then maybe that would force us into Old Chicago at some point.
Maybe. I cannot begin to tell you how thrilled I am that we're not going to Old Chicago, and it's not because I won a silver bet with A1 Johnny.
It's partially.
I bet him $5 in silver that that it was not Old Chicago, because he was like, dude, when we saw the teaser, like, dude, I bet that's her. Like, what? That's her going down in like to Lake Michigan outside Chicago. I was like, bet you $5 it's not happening. I've seen enough.
Out of all the cool places in Destiny, you're gonna have your biggest bad going down into Lake Michigan.
Yeah, right. Like. we go to these cool sounding things like Lake of Shadows, and we're going to Nessus, we're going to Exodus Down, and here's Lake Michigan. Like, I can't wait to walk down the streets of Chicago. I don't know. I find it funny. At least send me. I mean, you did send me back to old Russia, so
yeah. But I mean, that sounds cool. At least it doesn't like
right.
Maybe it's just because it's not, the United States. Just it's exotic to us. We just know what Chicago looks like for the most part. So it's like,
yeah, dude, I've been there. Go get you some Portillo's, get you some Italian beef.
Deep dish pizza.
Pints. Go see a game over at Wrigley. That's about all you need to do in Chicago. I'm kidding. If you're from Chicago, I actually really like Chicago. It's just not high on my list of things to play Destiny in. Like, I have the same excitement for going to Chicago as I would for playing Destiny in like fucking Dallas.
It's fair.
None. But Corey, any last thoughts on Season of the Lost before we move in? We have a really big schwab. We have Trials news to get to.
Not really. I probably saved more of my impressions for next week, just because I haven't really done a whole lot. I did do the event. I think
that's fair. Neither of us have really been able to do a ton.
Yeah, I did do the event a couple times. It's cool. Okay. It's a cool event. I like it. It's a little bit more, I guess, simplified than the last few. It's definitely not a long event. It didn't take me long, at least, to do it.
No, it's like a 10-minute thing.
Yeah. So it's no
it's not Battlegrounds.
Yeah, it's no Battlegrounds, right? Like it definitely is a quick in and out type thing. But I don't know. So far I think the story is off to a banger and the event's cool, but I want to save our impressions probably for more next week so we can kind of give a better take on it.
For sure. All right, Corey, let's move on. We're gonna keep doing things out of order. We're gonna talk Trials of Osiris.
Trials
of Osiris. Again, this is something we had planned to address on Tuesday, and we were not able to. This is a massive blog post. This could have been a schwab all on its own.
Right.
Trials will not go live until September 10th. But if you are a Trials novice, here's a quick breakdown of what to expect. We want to make Trials more accessible, no matter your skill level or fire team size. We want to make Trials more rewarding, whether you're winning matches or earning reputation with Saint. We want to make it more engaging, testing out changes to elimination and reintroducing labs to Destiny 2. So let's talk here. The goals that they have for the Trials revamp: get more people playing, doing something besides flawless or bust, feeling like they can win more often, feel like the rewards are on par with other similar endgame activities, and embracing movement, conflict, and resolution during a match. Going forward, there are weekends that Trials will not be around. Specifically, there will be multiple weeks in a season, and that is no Trials will take place while Iron Banner is up.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. That's kind of interesting, I guess. Right?
I like that because what it was doing is it was just leaving the super sweaty guys in Trials.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. They only want one.
See, I really
liked at a time.
I really liked playing Iron Banner when Trials was going on, because that means all the people that are good at PvP went to Trials, and I got to win some things.
R.I.P. R.I.P. my friend. Hopefully we get the Iron Banner rework here pretty soon. They said that was next on the list. No Trials for week 1 in the season or before a raid Worlds First. Week 1 should be about exploring new content, features, and tunings, as well as finding and using the new weapons and exotics. All future seasons starting this season. So when we get our first, I suspect we're getting our first Iron Banner next week.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I suspect we're getting it, or they're holding it until after week 1 of Trials. I can't imagine you bring Trials back for 1 week and then it's Iron Banner time.
Wait, when did Iron Banner start on? It's the first week of the month, right? That's usually when it starts, right?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It used to be, but then
I suspect Iron Banner is starting at reset on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah.
So Access is much easier now. Reduced requirements for Trials access quests to use lifetime Valor ranks and kills, which should open Trials to more long-term Crucible dabblers. Trials now allows queuing and matchmaking without a full fire team. We want people to earn rewards even if you do not have a fire team. You can enter it solo or with a friend, and matchmaking will fill the rest of the team for you.
That's interesting.
There will be freelance trials, solos only, and will be available via Crucible Labs. Going flawless on your own will be hard to impossible. We're sure somebody will do it thanks to other players they match up with. And honestly, my favorite change to all of this, including the rewards, is Trials now requires the annual expansion to play. Thank God. Thank God. So if you want to play Trials on September 10th, you got to have Beyond Light.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play it starting on February 22nd, you got to have Witch Queen.
That's good, right? Because like
that's fantastic.
Isn't this to kind of help battle cheating a little bit, right? Because like
it definitely does, because it slows down the speed at which cheaters can make alternate accounts.
Right, and then like you have to pay for the expansion on top of that. That kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah. So I like that change. Big change. Some Crucible rules that have changed for Trials. Round time has been reduced by 30 seconds. So down from 120 to 90 seconds. Stalling to wait for ability energy is not fun for either winners or losers. It will not eliminate stalling, but will lessen the amount of stalling that can take place. Emotes will stay in first-person camera, and swords cannot be equipped unless you have ammo. That has also been applied to Elim and Survival. No more 3-peaking, my friends. It has finally happened. You love to see it. We, of course, knew about that change back in February. It's nice to finally see it, though. Special and heavy no longer carries over between rounds either. That was another one. It was ridiculous when I was able to store up like 8 Jotun shots.
Yeah.
That just simply should not happen to anybody. And I like what they say here. Having the winning team keep all collected ammo, but losing team gets set back to default creates too big of a snowball advantage. It really, especially when we're talking things like shotgun ammo too.
Right.
So I like that. But of course, what everybody wants to hear, rewards and reputation. Trials tokens are gone. They're completely gone. Adept weapons will continue to require a full flawless passage to be earned, but Saint is getting ranks, reputation, and a rewards track similar to the other vendors. The peak they give us here shows a Prime Ingram. It shows upgrade modules, 3 enhancement prisms, the Eye of Soul sniper, upgrade modules again, Igneous Hammer, and of course an Ascendant shard at the end.
It looks pretty similar to the other ones, right? Except it has trials gear in place.
This makes me very hopeful for it to the Gunsmith and to Saladin coming soon. Because they're really the last 2 vendors we haven't gotten this with that desperately need it.
Right.
Rep is gained at match complete based on the number of rounds won on your ticket. Tickets 20 round wins now. Emphasizing winning individual rounds for the core rewards gives every player more achievable goals at all skill levels. Since you don't have to win full matches to get rewards, you always have a reason to keep trying, even if you are behind. Ranking up gives you a Trials Ingram. Powerful Ingrams show up every 3 rank ups before your first round of the season. Just like other ritual reputations, there are other rewards to earn every 3 ranks. And Trials has one of the unique Trials weapons at rank 10 and 16 for each of the first 3 resets of Season 15. So I have a feeling that you may get Eye of Soul and Igneous on your first run through. And then I think after that, once you've reset with Saint, I think that those weapons may change.
Yeah.
To give you a chance to get like the whole suite.
Yeah. That would make sense, right? I mean, that would keep people playing, right? I mean, if you're gonna switch up the weapons, that would give you something to chase at least.
I'll tell you right now. Like I have the full armor set for this iteration of Trials, and I have a good roll on almost every Trials weapon, with the exception of I do not have the rocket launcher, and I'd like to get a new roll on Summoner when it's put back into the loot pool. And there is a new linear fusion for this season in Trials, which presumably will be the first weekend weapon.
Right.
I enjoy seeing this. It does look like the weekly bounty, the weekly like pity bounty, has been retired. but I don't know for sure. I'm gonna have to. We'll keep reading on this article. I haven't seen anything on it or anybody raising an uproar. It just may simply not be on that sample screen they gave us. But let's talk passages for a minute. One of the most restrictive things about the trials system was the emphasis on winning and winning often to get any rewards. While winning matches will still pave the road to the lighthouse, we've made changes to let players enter the activity and earn rewards without having to reset all the time. Passages no longer track losses. A passage is either flawless or not. This allows you to keep playing and earning match and round wins for rewards. Players may continue to reset their passages after a loss, but are no longer forced to after 3 losses total. They will track up to 20 rounds won, and it's rounds, not matches.
Right.
Rounds.
Right.
Which is nice. You like to see that. Passages have been reordered. Mercy is now not super useful unless you are trying to go flawless, and have all had their prices significantly reduced. Indeed, it is now 10,000 Glimmer instead of like 30,000.
Right.
To get a passage. They are now account wide. You can play and earn rewards on any of your characters on the same passage. I like to see that too. That makes me more willing to boot up another character and try and maybe earn some trials armor for my warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I've been thinking about trying to play as a different character, just because this season's so long that like when the Witch King comes out, I want to be able to switch characters, right? If we want to like raid and say, like, hypothetically, say we get really good at the raid or whatever, or we want to play Trials or Iron Banner or something, like if I get like a full set of things on my Titan, I want to be able to go back in and be like, hey, we can still keep going because I feel more compelled to get the rewards, right? And I think this is good. Definitely good.
Yeah, I think these are all just fantastic changes here. Each week there are 2 pinnacle challenges for trials. Win 7 matches total on a given weekend. Win 50 rounds. Both of those are attainable for decent PvP players, I feel. Not even like decent. I think the 50 rounds thing is definitely doable.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, like,
because it's not matches, it's rounds, right? I mean, it's just rounds. Like,
yeah. So you got to win 53 on 3s now. That is a lot. They're expecting you to play a lot of trials. Ironically, winning 7 matches total may actually be your better one, because you could hypothetically reset your card after you get your first win. Just like reset and then go back in. With 0-0. I don't know. Like, I'm sure that one is the more attainable one, but 50 rounds really is not that bad in the scheme of things.
Right.
But they are trying to provide incentives for you not to reset. So, bonus progress based on the number of wins on your card. 3, 5, 7 win challenges have been removed. Once you max out reputation, you can reset and claim an Ascendant Shard or an exotic Ingram. Ranks and rewards will reset every season. We want players to keep going deeper into their cards, though, so match wins on a 7-win card have a chance to drop extra Trials Ingrams, Masterwork materials, and high-stat Trials armor, and the Lighthouse experience is not going to be changed. Unique Pinnacle Adept weapon each week the first time you visit on your account. All mods and cosmetics are available in the chest to reward return visits. But let's talk this Trials Ingram. This is the biggest change right here. As mentioned above, we'll be overhauling Trials Ingrams to give players more direct ways to earn Trials rewards. They now decrypt to a random selection from current armor and non-adept weapons. You do not need to unlock a piece of armor or a weapon before it is in your Ingram pool. You can focus your Ingrams at Saint 14 to decrypt specific items you have already received. If you've gone flawless that week, you can focus additional drops of the weekly adept weapon, but expect it to be a bit expensive. I am personally really excited for this because, like I said, I look at the pool that's here, and outside of the fusion and the rocket launcher, I have everything that you can earn in trials. So I personally want to try and get the linear fusion. The linear fusion is what I care about. Like, I'm going to dump a lot of mine into that, trying to get a good roll on that. But the sword is it. So it looks like the initial pool is going to have this current set of armor. It looks, I can't really tell what the first weapon is, but I think it's the rockets. No, that's, it might be.
The first weapon?
No.
The first weapon looks like a submachine gun.
It's not the SMG. The SMG is down right next to the linear fusion.
Okay, so.
It does look like an SMG. That may be there as like the adept weapon. Because it is a different shade, but I do agree with you. It looks like it. So let's assume for now that's the adept weapon. So it looks like the initial weapons in the pool are going to be Eye of Soul sniper rifle, Messenger pulse, Igneous hammer hand cannon, Solace Scar as the caster sword, Shayura's Wrath as the SMG, and the new linear fusion, which I had the name of it pulled up. Somebody already has it from saving a Trials Ingram from last week.
Mm-hmm.
It is Reed's Regret. So I like this, being able to focus your Ingrams. Now, I want you to... This looks like a really good system in theory. If this works, please expand this out to the other vendors.
Right. Seriously.
So I can focus my Ingrams on some of these playlist specific. I mean, imagine if you could focus drops on Zavala. You know, like, oh, you did the Grandmaster Nightfall for this week. You can get additional drops for a huge price of the Adept weapon.
Right.
That you unlock. But you had to have completed the Grandmaster that week in order to get that.
Right.
I think that would be fair.
Yeah.
Or just let me, you know, as these weapon pools continue to grow, let me specifically calibrate what I want. You know, and I think it's less abrasive in some modes than others. But there's some like Gambit. Remember the bottom dollar fiasco where everybody was trying to get that and the drop rates were so abysmal. I think we want to avoid that, and like especially in things like Iron Banner where the loot pool is so massive. Let us focus those. I won't be focusing too often. It'll be in a pinnacle activity like this if I do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is taking the idea of what we get from the chests at the end of Vault and Deepstone now, and kind of applying that elsewhere in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because when we ran Deepstone, one of the conversations we had during that set of episodes or whatever was like, you get spoils right from the raids, but like you can only spend them at the raids. You know, like I would just like to see a combination of things expanded into the other vendors.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That was just I just remembered talking about that. So
yeah, big fan of that though. Really like that. God, we're almost at the end. Thank the Lord.
Are we? Are you sure?
We really are. We really are towards the end.
Because we still have a TWAB to go through, Josh.
Well, I'm talking about the trials already.
I know.
We're towards the end of the trials.
I know. I'm
gonna need like a glass of water so my throat doesn't go dry.
This is gonna be about as beefy as that raccoon I sent you.
Dude, that fucker. Guys, so I tweeted out right before we started something Corey told me. He was describing a raccoon that animal control got out of his house. And he goes, you have to see this beefy fucker. And let me tell you something. That thing is like as big as my torso, and that's terrifying.
Dude, it's so big.
I am not a small man, okay? And neither was the guy carrying this thing either. It was genuinely terrible. If I saw that in my house, I'd be like, nope, that's it. We're selling it and moving. The raccoon can have everything in there. We're leaving. The raccoon now has a PS5. I'm not even joking. Like, if I go in there, I'm going in there with a fucking gun. Like, that's how bad it is.
I think it was big.
Matchmaking. Too often, flawless or bust players get mixed in with players that have different goals and skill set, and the misalignment causes problems. You will now start matchmaking with players that have the same number of wins on the card and with similar Trials game performance of the given week. We have a bunch of different factors playing, and we'll be watching and tuning these to balance match quality versus matchmaking time. If matchmaking takes too long, it widens the similarity check until it finds enough opponents for the match to start. Because I'm getting tired of matching up double gilded flawless guys when I'm on like my first round of the week.
Are you sure? Sounds like a good prep session.
No, it's fucking awful, and this is why people hate trials. And then of course we read this out loud during the broadcast on Tuesday. The help article went up, but just in case you missed this, or if I'm misremembering, Battle Eye anti-cheat is part of the game now. There are initiatives they're taking outside of the game to ban people. Win trading, account recoveries are completely bannable offenses now. So yeah, it sounds awesome. There's some stuff in here about Trials Labs. They're going to have some opportunities for us to try out some new game modes. Really encourage you to go read that section. Maybe check those out. I'll be in playing around in Trials Labs. If I happen to be home or available on a given weekend, I'll be playing around in there. And who knows? Maybe you'll see me in Trials. Whoop my ass, which is not hard to do. Do you have any thoughts on Trials, Corey? I shared a lot of my thoughts on the major changes we knew that were coming back on Tuesday, but you don't really ever dabble in Trials.
I've played
Destiny 2 Trials.
No, I've played Destiny 2 Trials it's been years, but I mean this makes me want to kind of get back into it, just because, like, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit on what's today? Thursday. On Tuesday before the raid, and like, just because, like, I've been doing so much the last like year or so in terms of podcasts and stuff and editing and all the stuff, that like my time with gaming in general has been limited, let alone Destiny. Right. And now that, like, I'm kind of just focusing on the Destiny stuff that we're doing, and just trying to, because, like, I realize that I am probably not the ideal person to be hosting the show, right? Like, I mean, I love doing it, right? Like, I want to be here. I want to be invested in Destiny, right? Which is why I've made a lot of changes to be more proactive about this show and the game, and being able to just talk about stuff in general instead of just letting you go on a rant, which, don't get me wrong, I love your long explanations, Josh, but like once in a while I'd like to contribute and actually like know what I'm talking about, right? And I kind of had some frustrations on Tuesday when we were about to do Vault, right? And like I didn't have like specific weapons or specific roles on weapons or anything, and like that made me really frustrated, because like I feel like I was letting people down in a way, and like I know I really kind of wasn't, and I know like the whole point was to like just go do Vault with me for the first time in D2, the D2 version of Vault. But like I still feel like if I'm not prepared, I'm letting people down, and like I've made all these changes. The point is like, I'm going to have more time to do Trials, and like the fact that there's matchmaking, and like my schedule is always weird anyway with work, and I can only play at like certain times and between certain times, and the fact that there's matchmaking, if I can't get 3 people, or I can grab you and play, or like my buddy Mitch that I play a lot with on the weekends, and we can actually go in and try. Like this has me more excited, and I want to be more invested in all aspects of Destiny, not just, doing my Pentacles for the week, or going into Crucible and getting that Pentacle, or, doing the Nightfall, or doing the story missions or whatever. Like, raiding this week made me realize how much I miss, I guess, quote unquote, real Destiny, right? Like, not that like the other aspects of the game aren't real, but like, the end game of Destiny, the end game content, the challenging aspects of Destiny, chasing the roles, chasing the guns. Like I was so excited when I got Vision of Confluence and Fatebringer with Firefly on it. I was like, I wasn't just happy that I got those weapons. I'm like, dude, I got some pretty good rolls on these weapons. Like I don't really need to chase these weapons.
And you really did.
Yeah.
And that's that's what it is. And like Destiny is a game that like we talk so much about how the game has evolved, and we go back to armor mods, and we see how they were in Forsaken, and you compare that with how builds are now, and it's like light and day. I mean, we have Warmind cells, we have elemental wells, we have charged with light, we have seasonal mods that we're applying. Like you have to have certain elemental affinities on your armor. You have to really think about like what kind of build you want to craft.
Yeah.
What plays to your strengths, things like that. Masterworking is more important than ever. Before, it used to just be like kind of a way to flex.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, you like really need to be masterworking like at your armor, especially. Like you want that extra 10 stat points, but on top of that, you don't just want that. You want all 10 slots because you're going to use it for your mods. You want to be pulling your mods out of your seasonal artifact. And that's, to me, that's part of the great puzzle. I'm really intrigued to see where we go forward. We're going to kind of get into that to build crafting here with this TWAB, because the TWAB has a lot to do with that in a way. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because we're about to talk. We're about to talk how Destiny's changed a lot since Forsaken.
Yeah.
And how they're basically doing subclass 3.0.
Yeah.
Going into year 5.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say before we moved into the TWAB, like, I realized, and I've seen some feedback towards me specifically on this show. Like, I understand that, like, I haven't, like, it just because I've been so spread thin, like, I just haven't been as invested as, not that I'm not invested in the show, just like haven't been as invested in Destiny as I needed to be. But my goal is to make this show with Josh the best show it can possibly be. And I'm more invested now than I've ever been in Destiny, and I just, part of that is like I'm sorry, Josh, that I haven't been as invested, and I know this kind of just sounds like a rant, whatever, but I just
this is a place for us to speak our minds.
Yeah, and I want to be more invested for you, for everybody listening, for the people that we play with, and this is never been a better time to get more invested, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of the perfect time to reignite that. And like, I've heard it from several of my friends who have become LAP. Not that you were a LAPS player, but several people who, they enjoy the universe, they enjoy the game, but they've really stepped away. And I feel like this is probably the last like real good jumping on point between now and the end of Light and Dark. Is going to be this season, with it being 6 months to catch up.
Especially with like all the seasonal and story elements kind of being, they stick around until the end of the year, right? Like, yeah, like you can play through.
We have until February before things disappear.
Yeah, you can play through all the story elements of all 4 seasons until the Witch Queen comes out, which is good, because I'm actually probably going to try to do that with my Warlock, because I still need to unlock Stasis on my Warlock. I just haven't been.
Yeah, I haven't done it on my Warlock Titan. I just don't know if I have the. I don't know if I have the heart to do it on the Warlock again. So. But let's shift gears just a little bit. It's gonna be our last thing we talk about tonight. Yeah, we're gonna do a Dominic Toretto over here. We're
it's all about family.
It literally, it's all about family.
I can't believe I haven't seen that meme, by the way, of like what was it, Fast 8 or Fast 7, when Paul Walker drives one way and Dom drives the other. They're like, Mara and Crow just drive separate ways. Where's that meme?
So bad.
Where's the meme, guys? Anyways, continue, Josh. Sorry.
Good old Schwab, though. So we're going to talk about subclass 3.0, specifically Void. Void is the first one that's getting this change to be more like how the stasis menu looks when you select your aspects and your fragments. And it will get this with the launch of the Witch Queen. But let's get straight to business. There was nothing announced in terms of a new subclass. And I remember immediately after, we were kind of speculating, well, maybe we just aren't getting it now and they'll reveal it down the line. Maybe they don't want to reveal too much early. It's not ready.
Yeah.
Let's put that to rest. There will be no new darkness subclass with the Witch Queen or in year 5.
Right, because like when they kind of did the teaser logo for Witch Queen, they had the kind of the circle things that kind of look like a subclass thing in it inside, and people were like, "Oh, are we finally getting like the poison subclass or whatever?" But we're not.
Are we getting something Thorn related? And it turned out to just be a really dope ass armor set.
Yeah, which is look, it's fine with me as a Titan. whose armor sets are fairly limited in how cool they look.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
The other thing is there will be, because this was noticed immediately. I remember, I think it was Nerd and I ran straight to Europa after finishing the initial mission to see if there was any new stasis quests. No new stasis aspects and fragments will arrive during Season of the Lost. We want to focus on different initiatives instead of adding to stasis. We feel like subclass build variety is in a good spot and was likely to benefit from tuning new stuff. To that end, we prioritize the balance patch and another patch you'll hear about debuting with the 30th anniversary. I said anniversary, and I didn't mean to do that.
It's fine. I knew what you meant. Because anniversary is not a real word. I just transferred it into what the real word was. It's fine.
Yeah. Some of the changes that are in the pipe, some of the stuff that's farther out than the Witch Queen's release. Reduction to how many one-shot kill abilities are... Yeah. Okay, so, excuse me. In the coming weeks, you'll hear about changes we're making to how players regenerate ability energy and how those changes are going to affect PvE and PvP with the 30th anniversary release. A few example of changes in the pipes. Reduction to how many one-shot kills are available in the Crucible, and a shifting super energy regeneration, so players are rewarded for participating in combat versus waiting out a timer. Later in Year 5, we hope to share more info on an initiative the team is discussing internally right now, making ammo generation a more deterministic and consistently paced experience across all activities. The game is evolving for the better. We hope we're being clear here. Destiny 2 is a living game, and as we head into the 5th year, we're looking at how we can evolve the sandbox you know and love to not only create new, but ones that haven't had much love since 2017. And that's what they say here. They says the light subclasses really have not been touched for the most part, outside of a few tweaks here and there, and definitely not in terms of overall abilities since Forsaken.
Right.
It'll have been 3.5 years when Witch Queen comes out. It's good that they're tackling Void first. I definitely think Void needs the most help of any of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially as a Titan, like the Sentinel Shield is cool. It's a cool idea, right? But like some of the outside aspects of the Void stuff is just like, oh, okay, well this is neat. I guess I'll just throw my bubble up again. You know, like the Titan Void stuff is just like kind of not.
I mean, they've basically made the Hunter supers useless. Like you can use Night Stalker in PvP. You know, you can go use your Night Stalker blades, but if you're trying to use Tether, it kind of fucking sucks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
rigs suck.
I mean, like even when we were raiding, like nobody was using Tether. The hunters weren't using Tether at all, and I'm just like, well,
and a lot of that's because of Divinity is just so much better at this point,
right?
Like,
well, between you using Divinity and like Golden Gun, right? Like with Celestial Nighthawk, like that's like, why would you ever switch? I mean, I know that's like your big complaint, but like, why would you ever switch off of that? You know,
right? And I that's why I like so many of the changes that are coming that they're going to list below. But they says the goals of Subclass 3.0 is to create an experience that gives players more customization akin to Destiny 1. Thank you, because I really like the subclass way better in Destiny 1 and how they looked.
We just talked about that like 3 weeks ago, like how much we missed the bubbles.
To us, Destiny is best when build crafting, best-in-class action, and power fantasy all meet to create gameplay experiences you can't get anywhere else. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. So they have 3 main goals here with Void 3.0. Preserve the strong existing power fantasies of Void. We want the damage type fun to use and give it a cohesive identity that can be felt throughout the subclass while adding some sweet new toys that feel like a natural extension. Provide new and exciting build crafting possibilities through the combination of aspects and fragments. We want you to not only be able to craft similar playstyles to the old subclass using the new system, but also explore a bunch of new ways your Void abilities can work together with your armor and weapons, and set up a framework for systemic integration of the damage type into the rest of the game. So with Void 3.0, we're defining a set of core keywords that will be used by various perks and abilities within each Void subclass, similar to Slow, Freeze, and Shatter used by Stasis. Each class will specialize in a few of these verbs, but it will be possible to dabble in the rest by coordinating with your fire team or with certain combinations of abilities and fragments. Additionally, these verbs will appear in other places outside of the subclass screen: weapon perks, exotic armor, and mods from your seasonal artifact. And we intend to continue expanding that list as we move forward. We believe these systemic interactions between your abilities and your gear are at the core of the Destiny build crafting game. This game is going full RPG. Like, if you have no interest in build crafting, this is your getting off point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will still be able to enjoy the story and the seasonal activity. But when you go to do end game level stuff, you go to do night, you go to dungeons, raids, trials, comp. I would even say Iron Banner, Gambit.
I mean, anything end game that's not like, this is like, I know we kind of had some people reach out to us recently that said, hey, is this a good time to jump back on? But it's like, I understand that like people are excited for Destiny and the new content, but like they are going for the hardcores to the hardcore people who want to do the end game stuff, which is, part of the reason why I've kind of like reassessed how I want to approach the game or approach content in general. Right. And like this, I feel like people are getting excited for the wrong reasons, to be 100% honest with you, people who have reached out to us. And it's like, I get you're excited. I think you want to experience the story and stuff, which is great. But like, there's no way that you're going to even be close to comprehending what's coming, because I barely do. And I've kept up. I've been keeping up and hanging out with you for like 3 nights a week and like trying to just keep this stash of like scattered papers across the desk. It's like the sunny, always sunny meme where he's got like all the strings attached to the board and like, crazy looking. I'm just like, you can't keep it all straight. But yeah, this is if you are not into full RPG build mode, I think
it's going to be rough. You can still enjoy it, but it's going to be real rough going to try and do like a raid or a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to get increasingly difficult to do this, especially if they're going to put this verbiage into mods and stuff. Now that there are 2 subclasses that'll be using this right off the bat, once they integrate all 3, so by the 3rd season of the Witch Queen, so this time next year, all 3 classes should be updated. Honestly,
yeah. And like, I don't want to discourage people from like trying it out and playing the campaigns and stuff, but like if you want to do anything end game related, like after you finish the campaign, your light levels leveled or whatever, like if you're not serious about it, then like it's not like, it's just gonna be, kind of a miserable experience trying to find people. I'm sorry, like it just sounds like that's what's happening. So
yeah. Without further ado, let's move into some terminology here, though.
Terminology.
A couple of these some of us are already familiar with, specifically suppression.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 negative and 3 positive effects. So we're gonna kind of bust out our Destiny dictionary here. Suppression. Target is knocked out of any active abilities and cannot activate any abilities or movement modes as long as suppression persists. Afflicted enemy AI combatants cannot shoot their weapons. We've all been on the other end of suppression from a Titan at one point or another. It may not happen too often, but it definitely happens. And it's always a gigantic pain in the ass when it happens. Weaken. Target takes increased damage and has their movement slowed. Enemy AI combatants fire their weapons with decreased accuracy. And volatile. The target is afflicted with unstable void energy and will explode upon taking additional damage or on death. I have a feeling that those last 2 are going to be big PvE favorites for boss or mini boss encounters.
It almost seems like weaken and volatile would be more for like champions or. Yeah, I don't know.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
If the Hive end up getting Guardians for some reason,
yeah, right? Like, it's almost like you're giving us tools to specifically focus on that. And 3 positive effects you'll be applying to yourself and allies. Void Overshield. Protect the barrier of void light, which reduces damage taken from combatants. Invisibility. We're all familiar with that.
What Well, hunters are.
I mean, I make other people invisible. And Devour. You feast on the energy of your foes. Kills restore you to full health, grant grenade energy, and extend Devour. These verbs should all be familiar to veteran players, but now exist in a new, broader systemic framework that will allow us to consistently spread their behaviors across the game. So here are some of the new abilities, and this is what has me most excited. Oh God, I'm so excited to talk about this first one because they immediately jump into Night Stalker Hunter. I was just saying, I said it last night, I said it here. Tether is useless right now in its current form. It's been useless like all year, whether it's because of Breach and Clear or Divinity. And it's just like, if you don't have a Divinity, then yeah, sure, Tether's cool. Like, go ahead and use Tether. But it's not nearly as good as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Mobius Quiver. And this is just a sample of some of the things they're going to be changing. But Mobius Quiver. Fire 2 volleys of 3 void arrows in a cone which seek out enemies and spawn void anchors on impact. Shadow Shot makes tethered enemies volatile and deal increasing damage to tethered targets. One of the main usability pain points of the current iteration of Mobius Quiver is having to press the super input a bunch of times to fire each arrow individually, which is cumbersome, takes a lot of time, and often results in the player drifting somewhere they didn't intend to. Be off the side of a cliff as a totally hypothetical example. I cannot tell you how many times that's happened to me.
Totally hypothetical. Totally hypothetical.
Totally hypothetical. By firing multiple arrows at once, it should be a lot easier to blanket an area with traps in preparation for a fight or put burst damage on a boss. This is going to be an awesome DPS super. And I hope to God there is an exotic that boosts damage of Mobius Quiver going forward. Because, man, if you can give us something that boosts that, I mean, hell, even Wish Eaters may honestly be the go-to here. I know they nerfed them, but if we can get a Bungie, if you're listening, Luke Smith, I know you tune in every week. Why don't you tell Joe and the boys to give us like a 30% damage buff on Star Eaters?
Do it.
And then one of the aspects for them will be the Stylish Executioner. Defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. After performing a Stylish Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens enemies. A twist on the Middle Tree Night Stalker's current Flawless Execution perk. This aspect lets the hunter specialize in defeating debuff looping invisibility. That's going to be a big one, I feel, for Grandmasters.
Yeah.
And for dungeons. I can see this being a big one for people trying to solo dungeons as well.
Yeah.
I can see it being a big one.
Yeah.
But Corey, let's get to one we're both excited about. Johnny was really happy for us to bring this one up tonight. Sentinel Titan. One of the aspects you'll be getting is called Overwatch. Cast a Void-empowered barricade to grant a Void Overshield to yourself and nearby allies. The empowered barricade slowly regenerates the Void Overshield of allies bunkering behind it. We want players to be able to lean into the Sentinel fantasy of being the frontline protector for your team, so Overwatch is a powerful tool for setting up prior to an encounter and providing a safe haven to fall back to when things get spicy. Imagine combining that, like if you pop your bubble and then you run up and throw the barricade up. So not only do people have weapons of light, but they also have a Void Overshield fighting a boss.
Mm-hmm. This would have been really helpful last night.
This would have been extremely helpful last night. I like that a lot. And then projectile melee shield toss. Hurl your shield towards an enemy. Shield can ricochet off enemies and serve, granting you a small chunk of Void Overshield for each enemy hit. We want to give Titans more options when it comes to projectile melee. Shield toss is a great choice for aggressively pushing forward into groups of enemies, softening them up and giving you extra staying power. You can really lean into that Captain America fantasy there.
Yeah, because that was like the big deal, right? When Destiny 2 first came out, it was like, oh my gosh, they're changing Void Titan. Oh my gosh, so you're getting a Captain America shield. And it was like, and like as much as I enjoyed it, like you had to do a very specific tree to like get that.
I have the shield literally on my wall.
I know, and you had to like do a very specific thing just to throw it more than once, right? Like, and it just never felt that way to the point where like you always just ended up charging with it instead of tossing it because it was way more effective, and it never really felt like that Captain America fantasy that you always wanted. So this is really cool. I like this I like this change a lot for me personally.
Yeah, no, I think this is awesome. If every class is getting changes that are on par with this, like getting cool new melee abilities, getting their supers reworked, like I gotta imagine Banner Shield is probably being looked at. I'm very excited for these changes, but of course it wouldn't be finishing out without talking about our favorite dress wearers, those wonderful warlocks. Let's dive into warlocks for just a second. Voidwalker Warlocks. Pocket Singularity as a projectile melee launches a tracking unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it nears an enemy, pushing targets away from the blast and making them volatile. Designed as an anti-dive tool and a way to push enemies out of cover. With careful placement, it's possible and incredibly satisfying to bop enemies up in the air and then pop their volatile with a well-placed headshot before they hit the ground. This next one, however, is my favorite thing of any of these changes. Over my super changes, over your melee, this is my favorite one. Child of the Old Gods aspect. Cast your rift to summon a sentient black hole which hovers at your side waiting for a target. It will launch itself at enemies, then begin siphoning their energy and weakening them, refunding their life force back to you as either grenade and melee energy if you're using Healing Rift, or health if you are using Empowering Rift. Defeating enemies who are being siphoned by the child will refund Rift energy. Child of the Old Gods is a strong debuff tool that gives Voidwalkers an additional way to lock down an area while sustaining themselves. Holy shit.
This sounds like the defensive, almost like a defensive version of the stasis one where they could have the little turret, right? Like this sounds like instead of doing...
Yeah, this feels very similar both to the turret and to the Arc Soul.
Right.
On the Arc subclass. So if this is the change you're making to Void, I'm so excited to see the next iteration of Arc Soul.
Yeah.
Because naturally some of our exotics are going to have to evolve with this change as well.
Right.
This is just a preview though. Then they present hypotheticals. Have you ever wanted to run Spectral Blades and Vanishing Step? Ward of Dawn and Controlled Demolition. Handheld Supernova with Devour. There's a lot of new possibilities, and as we get closer to the Witch Queen, we'll be back in future TWABs to talk more about the supers, fragments, and grenades you'll be mixing and matching. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is what light subclasses desperately have needed. It may have taken us a bit longer to get there, and I do suspect part of the reason it took so long is because we spent so much time fixing stasis. Had stasis launched and not had a whole lot of problems, I could have seen us getting one of these either this season or last. And I do think that was originally in the cards if they had been in office. It's pretty clear they were gearing up to do a new damage type by saying, well, you know, we made the decision not to include one, to fix these instead. I like this. This is great. You know, there's the addition of the state. There's stasis affiliated armor and legendary weapons now. Whole nother type of armor you have to consider with mods. Much to my chagrin, I've been relying on the same set of fully masterworked armor for about 4 seasons now. I'm not too enthused that I need to masterwork a set of stasis armor just in case. But this is real. I think this is really exciting for people like me and, you know, like Johnny and Nerd. Like, we're really into build crafting. We get so excited whenever there's a new concept like Charged with Light or Warmind Cells that we want to form our Guardian's entire identity around this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This is really exciting. The raid raid armor with the mods. There are mods that are only active in these raids. Like, it encourages me to want to keep a set of raid armor on hand to help kill oracles quicker, or to give me some extra buffs when I'm running suppression or scanner in Deepstone. Like, there's just so many different mixing and matching possibilities beyond how good do you look. And now with Transmog, you can look however you want while wearing whatever piece of armor you want.
I like it. I like it.
Any final thoughts on Void 3.0?
No, I'm excited for this. I think the changes are great. I'm excited. The customization is coming back. I'm excited for, you know, I like this Voidwalker Warlock stuff makes me excited for the other subclasses and actually wanting to go through and actually full out go Warlock for a little bit maybe this season after I'm done kind of leveling my Titan up, right? Like I these changes are awesome. I wish, like, it's crazy to think that like we're this far into Destiny and it's finally, I feel like, getting to the point where they want it to be, right? They're finally doing what I think they wanted it to be, and it took this long to get here, but we're here. It's cool, and I'm excited. I'm just really excited.
I am very excited. One quick little thing here. There's a couple little things in the TWAB I wanted to get to. There's a new Twitch Prime reward pack that is available now. You get Wardcliff Coil. You get the Diesel Punk ornament for it. You get an exotic sparrow, one of my favorite looking sparrows, frankly, from the early days, and a seasonal projection for your ghost. And that's the only way you'll be able to get that projection. That Wardcliff Coil ornament is one from Crimson Days. I think that's the last time it was available. So like a year and a half ago. So I'd encourage grabbing that. You know, that's an ornament that doesn't come around too often. It's not a huge change to it. Basically, just makes it completely silver. But hey, you know, an ornament's an ornament.
Still looks cool.
It still looks cool. God, there's a lot of issues that they're investigating. It's the beginning of the season, so of course there are. Encourage you to go read those if you have problems. There was a problem that they resolved pretty early in the week, which was Prophecy was not dropping the new weapons. John, Phil, and another friend of ours, Forrest, went through Prophecy, got straight armor drops. So because all of the Prophecy weapons, the former ones, such as Ikelo's shotgun and Death Adder especially, are out in the world now. They can drop from any old legendary engram.
Oh, they can?
They can.
Yes, thank you, God. Like, I mean, I still want to do the Prophecy.
We still got to do Prophecy to get those Trials weapons.
Yeah. I know, but I want the Ikelo's shotgun because, like, I had it before cross save was a thing. Like, I was playing one character on PlayStation with my PlayStation friends and one character on Xbox with my Xbox friends, right? And I had the Ikelo's shotgun on PlayStation and I never got it on Xbox, and now I can just go out and maybe try to get it at some point.
I agree. I agree. And then, you know, just here at the end, there's one final note. We were all wondering who the voice actress was for Savathun, and it is Deborah Wilson. You may not be familiar with her name, but Deborah was the voice of Sarai in Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I just looked her up. Yeah.
Yep, good old Jedi Fallen Order. Did a lot with Fallout New Vegas. Was just in Ratchet and Clank. She's been in a few other things. Not a few, a lot of other things over the years. Chances are you have heard her, and that's why everyone's like, where do I know her from? Like, I know her voice.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you've heard over the years in a lot of video games. She's done a lot of VO in movies as well. So movies and TV. So that's awesome. Glad to have her on board as Savathun, and such a soothing voice for possibly the most evil character we've fought. Well, not possibly, absolutely the most evil character we've fought since Oryx.
Which makes her scarier when she sounds so calm and collected, right? Like,
oh, Guardian Mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great, but yeah, man, I think we're just about done here. Damage has confirmed that this will be the last, as he puts it, the last big Chungus Chwab for a while. Time to sit back and let the game do the talking. We'll have your weekly story the weekly news beats, but far smaller, and they have exciting things lined up, but it takes time to get them together. Very, very, very happy that we won't have any more of these for a while. This was a lot. We basically had to read through 3 of these things today alone, not counting everything that we got on Tuesday.
Right.
We've had several big weeks of them. I mean, it was so big today we had to cut out Lore Corner. So,
yeah. I think we made it through pretty quick though. I mean, this is
well, we did. All things considered, we definitely did. But my mouth and throat are completely dry right now.
I know. It's. I mean, outside of this, it's been a long day, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm excited for the changes. I'm ready for this season. I'm ready for the long season for a few reasons, right? Where like I can get my other characters up to snuff. I can take a break and play other games. I can find like I can just kind of work on other. You all right there, Josh?
I was gonna say, you said work on other games. I'm sorry, it was unintentionally funny because for months now, you, me, Joe, and Nerd have all been like, all right, when we get to November, we're all taking a Destiny break. We're all playing nothing but Halo until the Witch Queen comes out. Fucking Halo Infinite comes out the day after the 30th anniversary event starts.
I know, which is ridiculous.
Literally the day after.
Dude, that tells me that
tells me you're getting some Halo shit in here.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't put the 30th anniversary event out alongside Halo, which is the franchise that basically built you on consoles, right? Like, I mean, I know there's Marathon fans. I get it. There's probably one or two Oni fans out there, I'm sure, which was hilarious in the reveal, like the pre-show stuff. They showed people playing Oni. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe.
I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't my first Bungie game, but I have played Oni.
Yeah, I had it for PS2.
Oh man, that game is rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
In a year's time span, they went from Oni to Halo. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Rockstar published Oni.
I know.
That's how far back this was.
I mean, we've talked about that before, right? Where Oni is a Bungie developed game published by Rockstar on PlayStation 2. How many weird wrong things?
Exclusive, and it was a launch title.
Yeah. Oh. So.
Oh man, but no, just I guess to kind of close out, I'm really excited about the next couple of months. Not even the next few months, like just the future. Like we have a good idea of where we're going with the Witch Queen. Like we basically know what the next 6 to 9 months look like at this point.
Yeah.
We essentially know what we're going to be doing from now, with the exception of the seasonal content, obviously, with the Witch Queen. We know what we'll be doing pretty much through April of next year. I'm really looking forward to this. Like you said, I am looking forward to taking a break. But, I mean, if they revamp the holiday events, it may not be as big of a break as I was planning. I think this does solve the question of, what on earth are we going to talk about during 6 months? And I think we have a clearer idea now. Like, this season is so deep and so in-depth. Like, we will have shorter episodes, right?
Oh,
As they have less information to share with us. You know, so not all the story beats will always hit. We may do some special, like, lore one-offs here and there if we don't have a whole lot to talk about in a given week. Of course, you know, playing the new version of Prophecy to get those weapons. But the 30th anniversary, I think, is going to help a lot of people. Us especially. Like I'm looking forward to getting Gallarhorn back and immediately going to Shirochi and doing that catalyst. That's gonna be awesome. Like that's got to be the reason you nerfed Anarchy, right? We're gonna give him Gallarhorn.
So side tangent. I know we're gonna wrap up here, but like. So the one thing that they said, and I know you guys talked about it, we're going to get a new raid or dungeon every 3 months now.
Every 3 months.
And they said
new PvE activity like that, yes.
And they said that they're remaking they're re-releasing one of the old Destiny 1 raids again.
This has to be King's Fall.
Yeah. Do you think one of the dungeons will be Crota? Do you think they're going to make that transition?
I don't know because
like
I feel
I've seen a lot of mixed feelings on that. Like I've seen people say
for me the opportunity to do Crota was this fall.
Yeah.
If you don't have it in this fall, like if Crota's the reprised raid next year, I think there's gonna be a lot of myself included, there's gonna be a lot of really upset people.
Yeah.
I think King's Fall. If you're gonna do Queen's Fall in the spring, I think you got to do King's Fall in the fall.
Yeah.
I think that's got to be released with the August update next year is King's Fall. I think that's going to be so healthy. You're going to have a raid in like March and September of every year, and then a dungeon like around Christmas and in the summer every year. Like that's just such a good cadence to get into.
Yeah.
If you can have that with some new Crucible maps, maybe some re-released strikes, like. God, we're getting subclass updates. Like the next several seasons are going to be just so jam-packed. And I feel like putting a pinnacle activity like that in every season is going to encourage more people who maybe don't buy the season right away to be like, fuck, I gotta go get this season. Like, they're not just gonna that's not just gonna be put into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're gonna have to buy the season pass for it. Like, even if you look at the versions of the season pass right now that you can buy, or the bundles,
mm-hmm.
it advertises that, oh, you're getting all 4 seasons, you're getting the Witch Queen, you're getting the 30th anniversary pack, and you're getting 3 dungeons, one of which is in the fucking loot cave.
Dude, that's so awesome.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've seen. I'm here for it. I love this new Hive exotic SMG they're going to give us in the next game. I like the wacky looking ghost that's here. I like the sparrow, the emo, the emblem, Gallarhorn. Somebody is in Thorn armor holding Gallarhorn on the cover of this. It's so cool. Like, I don't care. Bungie is getting an absurd amount of money from me this year, and I know we tend to sound like fanboys, but we are huge fans of not just Destiny, but we talked about it on Bungie Day, like how much Bungie means to us as a studio. And towards the end of the year, when we do the 30th anniversary event, obviously, and Halo is out, probably our last episode of the year, we're gonna really talk about that. Mm-hmm. The anniversary event's kind of happening like the week before we take our break.
Yeah, and like what I was thinking about this week too was like you brought up how Bungie, and like we got to talk about what Bungie means to us earlier, and I was kind of thinking about it this week, right? Where we have our favorite developers, right? Like a lot of people are Nintendo fans because of Zelda or Mario. A lot of people are Naughty Dog fans because of Uncharted and The Last of Us. But there's something so unique and different about Bungie. I feel like, it's something about the community with Bungie. There's something about, Halo and just being so community driven and moving into Destiny, which is so community driven. There's something just special about Bungie, and there's so much to celebrate with this studio.
And that's one of the things, like, I hate to sound like I just keep plugging this, but if you didn't listen to Tuesdays, we took about 15 minutes to talk about the 30th anniversary video and about the pre-show, the interview with Jason Jones, things like that.
First interview since Ryan McCaffrey's IGN interview, like 10 years ago?
To my knowledge, it's his first one. He does not talk.
Yeah.
After the Microsoft split, he just kind of like clammed up and became a recluse.
Mm-hmm.
And just like how fucking bizarre it was too. But we each kind of talked about like what Bungie really means to us, and like I think that it got hit on the head. And I really hate that I can't remember who said it in the pre-show, but he says, he leaves and plays other games all the time, but there's 2 things that keep him coming to Bungie games, and that is the incredible storytelling and the community around these games. And whether it's Halo or it's, or the next franchise they make, is it Matter, is it the mobile game? Like I'm going to keep playing these games for as long as I'm into video games, because I have close to 20 years of memory. I mean, I've been playing, my first game was Halo 1 with them, and that was 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So almost about 18 years. This November it'll be 18 years since I played Halo for the first time.
I mean, I bought an Xbox. Crazy. I bought an Xbox because of Halo, right? And how all my friends, it's the only game they could talk about, right? Like we went from playing GoldenEye and Perfect Dark to Halo, and like
I mean, I've talked about it a lot. Like you raided with him the other night, my buddy Matt. Mm-hmm. Matt and I became friends in the 7th grade over Halo 2. I remember I didn't own an Xbox. I was the not cool kid at school. I didn't own an Xbox. I had a GameCube. I didn't even have a PS2. But I would go to his house every single weekend. Every Friday night, I was over at his house playing Halo 2. We'd stay up all night. I still remember playing through the campaign, like in the weeks after it came out. We played through the campaign together. And I have such fond memories doing Outskirts of Metropolis, trying to get the Scarab gun. Deliberately skipping doing levels like the Sacred Icon ever again, or Quarantine Zone, skipping those on purpose, leading up to, convincing our parents to let us stay home when Halo 3 came out so we could play through the campaign together.
Right.
Playing through Reach, going out to college, playing through Reach over Xbox Live together. And, into Halo 4 or 5, Destiny, like him taking me to the midnight launch for Destiny We were the only two at our store who got the Ghost editions, and so he's wheeling my, broken self out of the store in a wheelchair. I just had surgery, and I'm holding two Ghost editions, like holding on to them for dear life.
Right.
And it's there's so many things, and like I said it on Tuesday, I got really emotional watching the 30th anniversary. It starts out, when Jason first made the company in like 91.
Mm-hmm.
Bungie's been around a year longer than I've been alive. Like,
yeah, I watched it too, and I made the mistake of watching it at work. I'm like trying not to be emotional at work while I was watching it. It was like man, there's so many
I don't know, and it's like, it's something that sounds like, if you try to explain this to somebody, I feel like, who's never like fallen in love with a game or the story of any kind of fictional story of any kind, they'll be like, really? You got emotional over that? Like, my girlfriend teases me all the time that I get really emotional over like meaningless or fictional stuff so easily.
Mm-hmm.
I am more likely to cry in a movie than she is.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a serious book. Like, I'll probably tear up. Like, I'll tear up because like I love something so much. Like, it's such a cool moment.
Yeah.
Like, Captain America grabbing Thor's hammer in Endgame. Like, there was a happy tear there.
Yeah.
Portals. All that stuff. Luke igniting his lightsaber in The Last Jedi. We think about these things, and for me, like, Mara coming back it's one of those moments. Like, I've been waiting for this for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Saint, rescuing Saint in the past. Seeing Savathun finally come into this universe. I read about her in the fucking Books of Sorrow. I was still in college when I read about her for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, that was 5-6 years ago now?
Yeah.
Taken King came out in 2015, 6 years ago. It'll have been almost 7 by the time she's actually, like, really the antagonist in the game. And it's like, oh my god. Like, you think about all these characters, and just that's the power of a Bungie game. You care about these fictional characters
mm-hmm.
in your screen, or on your screen. You care about weapon rolls, man.
Right.
But you care about the people and the friendships you made. And I've beaten it over the head, but some of my very best friends I've ever made have been through Bungie games. Like, I would not be, and I said it on Tuesday, I would not be the man I am today without having the community that I found in these games, whether it's LAN parties all the way back in junior high, or it's doing LFG raids in Destiny Beyond Light.
Mm-hmm.
Like, either way, like, I'm making connections, like I'm making friends. Like, it goes from like, oh hey, let's play a few matches, to like, I met John. I met on Reddit.
I mean, we met
on Reddit because he was looking for a fire team. We met in a Facebook group.
We met because we were looking for Sleeper Simulant quest tips, right? Like, and we were in a Facebook group together. Like, that's how we met. Yeah. We met because of Destiny.
Like, our buddy Ray was talking about it earlier this week. He was like, there's some defining parts of, Josh and I's friendship. He was tweeting at Ice, and it's video games, it's comics, it's, getting me into anime. You talk about lightsabers, but at the core of it, like, there's Destiny. Like, we bonded over Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
He started his streaming career. Now, he's off at Twitch, like, actually working for them. Like, these games change lives, and I don't want to dwell on it too much more. I'm going to start getting really emotional, but when we get to the actual 30th anniversary event,
we're going to do a whole one.
We're going to bring a few of our friends in for our end of the year recap, like we did last year. I think we all really enjoyed that, ranking the raids and doing build a raid and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something similar, but I want to talk about what Bungie means to all of us, because you guys hear it from Corey and I all the time. Like, it goes beyond just the impact it's had on us. I mean, I've never met a bigger Halo fan than Joe.
Yeah.
Ever. I thought I was previously the biggest Halo fan in my life. No, I am a casual observer compared to our good friend Colonel Panic.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of went on a lot longer than I planned. Corey, you want to spin us on out?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. I could say about this topic, and I shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, we have whole episodes planned around this. So, anyways,
whole episodes.
Thank you guys so much for watching and/or listening. A few quick updates. Our YouTube channel is now live. All episodes are live. You can watch us there. just search Tower Casuals. If Lore Corner's on its way, I'm through Season of Arrivals and Season of the Hunt uploading, working on the Season of the Chosen now. You'll be able to see other things there as well. But for now, if you want to watch the video version, you can go there. You can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals. You can email the show at towercasuals@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitch at Tower Casuals. I don't really know what's going to happen there yet. But Josh, why don't you remind everybody where they can find your fresh face?
Twitter at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. Tune in 2 weeks to see me build a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I'm doing the exact opposite thing that I should be doing, and I'm vacation.
You're taking a vacation? Yeah.
I'm taking a vacation, but when your girlfriend has been called in to work overtime repeatedly, you guys just kind of say, fuck it, we're going on vacation. So
yeah. I'm very jealous, by the way.
I'm building a lightsaber, and I'm getting a wand.
Very jealous of both things. You can find me on IamCorianHD on Twitter. You can find me here on Tower Casuals. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. If you listen on iTunes, leave us that 5-star review. We'll see you next week, Guardians. Goodbye.